Hello, everyone. Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Welcome once again. I want to jump on here today and while everybody is at home from work, spending time with the family, the kids are out of school. I want to kind of talk as my primary subject today. I want to kind of spin the box of annals a little bit and speak on James Lights Out Toney. While we have this downtime, I am all about educating myself and that of others, especially when it comes to the sport of boxing, right? And not often, I don't think we have in the sport, nor in in new media, we have people that's willing to look at film and try to understand what exactly they're looking at. The older generation that are now retired, let me tell you, it is some very educational footage out there of individuals you can take a peek in as a fighter and learn different facets to your game, whether it's on the outside or inside, movement, how to set up punches, set traps, whatever you choose to do, whether it be uppercuts, hooks, jabs, just different areas to highlight and improve your skill set. Those of you that's in the building, appreciate it. Thanks for hitting that thumbs up button. Give me a minute to share this. I'm going to be positive that everybody's doing great today. There's a lot of people struggling right now. I know it, because this is worse than the government shutdown, because a lot of people were still able to freaking work. It was just a government shutdown. But now, dealing with your COVID-19, man, it's just switching up everything. You're talking about a wrench in the game. This is just too big. This is affecting everybody across the board. And that's real. I do, my prayers go out to the families who was, depending on having that check, man, to support their family. I know it's difficult. I know some of y'all really don't understand where the next meal is going to come from, how long this is going to take place. This is bad. The good thing people are talking about, they're saying that the president is mentioning giving a stipend to the families during this crisis. Well, it may take a while for that to be dispersed. In the meanwhile, let me finish this first, because I really want to pay attention to what I'm saying. So basically what I'm getting at, what I'm saying out here in the public, is that, of course, I'm not trying to put this in a military standpoint, but yeah, we have to go through different exercises all the time. We have to prep, prepare, prep. We go by the P's. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance, and we live by that, right? So right now, I see this going out here in the public is straight up chaos, mayhem, man. You have people out here that's really changing their attitude, and you have to give credit to these movie producers who are out here back then, who's knowing about this particular outbreak and knowing about the depth of history and what it's going to lead to in the future, and they've been making movies about this. And so if you remember watching that movie Contagious, right? Contagion, or so forth, whatever the name was, like it talks about the outbreak. The whole movie is about people just losing their mind in the outbreak, dying and everything else. And then they talk about individuals just stepping out in public, killing people, robbing people, because that's what happened when you take a source of revenue away from someone and they need to go through dire needs to support their family and themselves. Sometimes they become, vigilantes. They become individuals by all means necessary that's willing to step out here and risk it all because they feel that that's what they need to do. I'm seeing a lot of that is going on, man. If you're talking about shutting down the rest of this month, and I'm looking at boxers, right, that I've interviewed, that I know of, that may have had fights coming up. Their fights are being canceled. This is boxing and MMA, right? So their fights are being canceled. That means they have to really depend on tapping into their savings, or they have to depend on getting a second job. Where it's going to be difficult to get a second job if they're cutting staff to a skeleton crew. Like, this is bad, man. This is all bad. This COVID-19 is bad for everybody. Because you're thinking about alternatives that we're so used to hearing, right? Like you say, oh, I'll just go to plan B. Well, this virus kind of extracts plan B from being so easily accessible. Because if you was in one job, you say, well, for this particular area, they're cutting down, they're laying people off. Let me just go over here. But no, this is widespread. This is like state emergencies, a global crisis that's going on, man. It's going to affect a lot of people. It is affecting a lot of people. It's going to affect a lot more individuals, because if they're talking about this extending into April, I know they just had a conference, and they were speaking on this could extend to July and August. Oh my goodness, man. I really hope that's quite exacerbating the point a little bit, just so they won't have people calling in asking, hey, have you heard anything? It's really no one place to say it's containable to the fact that you can reach back and ask those questions, say, what are we looking at? What is the ETA? What's the time that this is gonna this ban or this freaking curfew is gonna be lifted? How long it's gonna be? And listen to this. This is what I was thinking about too, people. And like I said, this is gonna be primarily about James Lifestyle Toney. I'm gonna get to that. But I wanted to talk about miscellaneous topics today, because this COVID-19 is very, very strenuous on a lot of individuals, and the crime rate is going to go up. So this is what I was thinking, right? If your kids are out of school, and most of the time when the kids are out of school, the parents are working. I mean, the kids are in school, the parents are working, right? I'm just saying, in certain households, what's going to happen now that the kids are at home? And there's more groceries that you have to pay for, because kids are going to eat when they're at home. I'm not gonna lie to you. Being from the South, man, it was plenty of days that being in a house of 5 that we ate mayo sandwiches. Absolutely, it wasn't no PB&J. It was mayo sandwiches. You grab some bread and you make mayo. Look. Grocery was only picked up once a week. That was only grocery once a week. So you're talking about 5 miles. If the grocery ran out, then we was kind of like, okay, stuck for a minute. So what we could do is go to a neighbor's house and ask them, could you have a mayo sandwich? That's real talk. And you go over to somebody's house, depending on how many kids they got, you might get some meat in there. You might get some bologna. You might get some ham. But the way I look at this pandemic that's going on, it just gives you this moment. Like, the kids are home from school. It forces them, they're too young to get a job, right? So it forces their parents to go to the grocery store and spend more money that they may not have already. Like, they may not have that amount of money to spend to get the grocery that they need. And then the kids may not be mature enough to understand, like, we struggling. Let's just be careful and don't be reckless. We're going in here just squandering water, squandering food, and everything else. What's going on, Leonard? What's going on, everyone? Well, I just wanted to make that a point. Bruce, what's good? Salute to you. Thanks for dropping in. this is the downtime that for me, it's also good to talk about boxing in an educational manner, the boxing annals. Because I know a lot of fighters don't like watching watching older fighters, but the fight that we're going to watch today, whoever tunes in, I want to talk about James Lights Out Toney. The reason why he is on point with World Combat Sports today is the fact that it's a fight that I always revisit. Him and BARKLEY. I mean, goddamn, James Toney, man, he looked amazing the way he boxed that day. You talking about the sweet signs, being a guy who's a counterpuncher? Man, you look at that fight, it's no way a fighter can tell me that they haven't learned anything. They didn't learn anything from that fight. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of fighters that you can learn something from. It's according to your style, real talk. But I'm just saying, like, when you see that BARKLEY fight at super middleweight and James Toney, it's a lot of educational tools that you can pick up as far as implementing them in your technique. So that's what I'm getting at right now. So hold up for a second. Hopefully everybody's doing great. Smash the thumbs up button. Your support is always appreciated. I definitely need you to pass the word and get these subscribers up. Hey, we live in an environment where people always checking subscribers and stuff. It's still an integrity in your work ethic. It's just amazing, man. It's just amazing. For real. It's just unbelievable. Like, there's so many ways to manipulate these likes and freaking views and subscribers. People want to say, hey, get your likes up, get your likes up. But what about my work, though? You know what I'm saying? What about my work? Okay. Hey, man, give a shout out to Larry Frazier in the building over there at Darlington, South Carolina, man. Hopefully you and the wife is doing great over there. Larry Frazier, he put on shows over there in Darlington, South Carolina, man, amateur shows. He himself is a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? The man has done a lot for boxing. Also, he's my brother in arms. Simplify, Devil Dog. You know what I'm saying? Good people. Good people. Shout out to your sister, Deborah Ford, too. Salute to y'all. Looking forward to the next PD. For real. So I'm just going to touch bases a little bit more on what I was mentioning earlier. So the individuals that's suffering from this COVID-19, man, it's bad on the front side and the back side of it, because if you're looking at the kids that's out of school, of course they're happy. I'm pretty sure some of them are being instructed for online courses, which is good. So when your kids are out of school, they have to be fed. because obviously they're too young to get employment, apply for employment. Then that puts an extra strain on the households that's barely making it because their kids are away in school during this time, and it allows them to potentially have a second job or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But if they're out of work too, you know what I'm saying? If their money or how you put it, their wages are cut short, so to speak, of staff and everything else due to the restrictions that's coming statewide, it's going to be a struggle in the household. It's going to be contentiousness. It's going to be a lot of negative energy. And this is from the kids to the parents, parents to the kids, and from parent to parent. It's just bad. I was just sitting up here reflecting on it, and I said, damn, it's a bad time for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I know in the athletic top tier, you hear of NBA players, they're saying, and MLB players and so forth, they're saying they're going to pay the wages of, they're going to help pay the wages of the employers and stuff like that. That's good. The ones that's laid off due to this crisis, the ones that don't have millions of dollars like the athletes. And that's great. That's real great that they would reach out and do that, because it's a lot of individuals that's out here suffering, man. And mark my word, man, it's only a matter of time before you're going to start seeing some things that you didn't think that was going to occur in this particular time of need, and that's going to be crime. The crime rate may increase due to people searching. If you're going hungry, if you're out of money, you're gonna find somebody to be a victim. Seriously, I'm being all honest. That's what happens when a person is going through deprivation and they have mouths to feed outside of their own, especially if the kid is small too, and they gotta have formula and they're not on public assistance. It's gonna get bad quick. Like you have to feed those babies. You know what I'm saying? They have to eat. It's no way that you can say we're gonna ration this and ration that. When you have people with very young children that have to eat on a consistent basis throughout the day, you know what I'm saying? And they're not even a year old yet. You really can't cut corners with that, especially if you're not on public assistance. So I was just thinking about that. So, blessings go out to those families that's out here that's really, struggling. And it's only going to get worse as the weeks ahead are ushered in and people really start to feel the pinch, you know what I'm saying, of jobs laying people off, not working because of quarantine. They really don't want patrons coming into a restaurant and potentially infecting the restaurant. So they have to go through a whole entire extreme measure to disinfect their restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Or their place of business, period. Okay. I just wanted to start off with a clip. So give me a minute. I'm going to share this screen. And look, I had some people, of course, a lot recently. I believe these kids have a little bit more time on their hand. So I've been getting some trollology going on. You know what I'm saying? And they was talking about the situation with not giving Fury his respect or whatever. But then I remember looking at this video with Bob Arum and what he was saying that kind of reiterated what I mentioned about Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. And that's coming from Bob Arum. Bob Arum said the same thing I said in Anthony Joshua's rematch. He made the same sentiment, man. He basically reflected the same. He remediated what I said. And just because I said, then people want to, come with squinted eyes, gritted teeth. You know what I'm saying? They frowned up and everything. So give me a minute, man. Hold on. So I'm going to stop through and play a clip what Bob Arum said about Anthony Joshua. And I commend him for saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because people believe in this period, when you have a voice, that you have to be on a certain platform. Okay, YouTube is a platform, and you have to treat it like you're the highest platform in order for people to tune in, right? And like I said earlier, yeah, you have views and all that, but just because someone is on a higher platform of notoriety doesn't mean what the person is saying directly to you on this particular platform is any worse. You know what I'm saying? If they have factual content and has merit to it, validity, well, guess what? Don't get mad when Bob Arum said, no, don't hit him up. Here we go. Listen to what Bob Arum said about that fight with Anthony Joshua. He's keeping on the buck. Shout out to Top Rank, one of the Cadillacs of promotions, real talk. So check out the video.
On both sides of the pond are going to enjoy a great boxing match.
Talking about the two sides of the pond, back home, you kicked up a little bit, you made a little bit of a stir back home when you said only the Brits care about Anthony Joshua. Do you stand by that statement?
Yeah, absolutely. In America, nobody cares about it.
So as I was saying this back in 2018, people, just what Bob Arum, look, this is a February 21st, 2020 video. I was saying this back in 2018 when the negotiations were, rambling on between Joshua and Deontay Wilder. I was saying when you had gullible U.S. fans saying that, hey, what's going on, Sir Ken? Gullible U.S. fans saying that Anthony Joshua is a global star. I said, how can this man be a global star? He doesn't even have the charisma to be a global star. He's not Lennox Lewis. So Bob Arum just reiterated that no one really cares about Anthony Joshua over here. It showed how disrespectful Anthony Joshua is. When he came over here for Jarrell Miller, he allowed only his media. He didn't even allow us to breach the perimeters and go in there and talk to him. He didn't even allow the U.S. media to be front and center, and ask him the tough questions. That's why it's a disconnect with Anthony Joshua. That is why he's standing over across the Atlantic. Go ahead.
Any fighter who gets beat by Andy Ruiz, gets knocked out by Andy Ruiz, is not an elite fighter. I mean, let's be honest about it. I had Andy Ruiz for 36 fights, and he didn't knock out a majority of the guys that we put him with, many of whom were not really top flight. Most of them were not top flight heavyweights.
Now, it is simply understanding and respectful how to give Bob Arum a salute, because he said he had the man and he was fighting C-level opposition and he wasn't knocking nobody out. And then I come over here and give comparison analogies, right? And I'm trying to tell these individuals that more so Anthony Joshua, his poor performance made Andy Ruiz shine. Andy Ruiz did what was comfortable for him on that night. He responded. Joshua gave the simple robotic 1-2. Andy Ruiz gave him a whole flurry of punches. The volume was unexpected from Anthony Joshua. He felt that looking at this short guy, you know what I'm saying, he would have an easy go. That wasn't the case. And I was saying the exact same thing, like Anthony Joshua performed poorly. He was exposed. But people want to say, well, it was said that Joy DeWeco knocked him out. His trainer was rubbing his neck. No, just what Bob Arum said. Andy Ruiz, he went the distance with Joseph Parker and lost. Okay. So who was he knocking out of? You know what I'm saying? Who was going on? Who was he knocking out? And, to validate what I'm talking about, Bob Arum just say, like, anybody who loses to Andy Ruiz are getting knocked down, knocked down.
And Anthony Joshua gets knocked out by Andy Ruiz. What does that say about him?
Well, I'm not going to answer that.
I mean, could you believe if Andy Ruiz fought Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, would you give Andy Ruiz any chance against those two guys?
Not at all.
Talk that boxing, Bob. Talk that boxing to him. He said if Andy Ruiz fought Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, would you give him Come on, would the Bednards even come close to saying, you know what, Andy Ruiz, he's going in against Deontay Wilder, the hardest hitter in boxing? Would you give him any credit? Would you give him any credit to Tyson Fury, the way Tyson Fury has size, reach, you know what I'm saying, manipulative glove activity, you know what I'm saying, inside dirty boxing and everything else that was going on? Would Andy Ruiz be a favorite to win that? That's coming from Bob Arum, y'all. I was saying this shit in 2018 where people was kicking me out the groups. I said, man, Vladimir Klitschko went in there and his order was to fight and be a good dance partner for Anthony Joshua. And what happened? Vladimir found out that it was much easier to beat Anthony Joshua than he assumed. He said, shit, this is easy work. But then he fell back in the order, his position. He fell back in ranks. He was like, shit, let me let off the gas a little bit and kind of make this a little believable for Anthony Joshua. Because Vladimir wasn't trying to go on another title reign. He was there to be a dance partner in Wembley Stadium. And that's what he did. He could have finished that fight. But you heard what Bob Arum said. Talk that shit, Bob. Talk that shit to him.
No. And he knocked out Anthony Joshua, who then fought him in a rematch and ran like a pussy.
What? What
does Anthony Joshua?
Knocked out Anthony Joshua, who then fought him in a rematch and ran like a pussy.
Oh my God, yo. Look, y'all don't come up here dropping no DMs and talking about anything that I'm saying on here without doing your research. But look, I understand we have to babysit the casuals sometime, but it should be something below the casuals called the no knots, the boxing no knots. They are the ones who are just going on just for attention, and they just want to be a part of this boxing aura, you know, that's taking over social media. But Bob Arum just said Anthony Joshua fought Andy Ruiz in a rematch and ran like a pussy, man. That's Bob Arum's words right there. The same exact thing I was saying. I say, okay, Anthony Joshua didn't look that good going into the rematch. He just was in there with the overweight, deconditioned fighter Andy Ruiz, and he ran around the ring. I would have been upset to go to Saudi and expecting so much. They wanted so much for this to be just one of the biggest matches in boxing. And Anthony Joshua said, forget the fans. I'm just going to run around the ring and make it boring. I know in some cases they say that in boxing, you know, get the win and don't worry about nothing else. I understand that. But that's what Bob Arum just said, y'all. He said he ran around the ring. You heard what he said?
What does Anthony Joshua need to do to become elite then? Does he need to face something like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder?
I'm telling you, and listen to what I'm telling you. Anthony Joshua's next fight is with Kubrat Pulla, who will knock Anthony Joshua out.
Bob's an OG in the game. I know a lot of people have their way in feeling about it, but you know what? In the sport of boxing, coming from the Don King era, of course, boxing isn't a likable sport. Even from the boxers themselves, every boxer isn't a likable person because they're in the hurt business. Everybody's, you know, some people approachable, some not. But what Bob Arum just said, come on, bro. Come on. What did you just hear that man say? He said his next opponent is Kubrat Pulev. He's gonna knock him the fuck out. I mean, Bob Arum, man, I wish he could have been in front of my lens instead of IFL TV. But shout out to IFL TV, man. You know, citing this video. Let me go back.
All going well for Tyson Fury. All going
I have to go back to that.
Kubrat Pulla, who will knock Anthony Joshua out.
All going well for Tyson Fury. All going well for Anthony Joshua. Would you make that fight with Joshua and Tyson Fury?
With who?
With Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury.
Joshua's going to get knocked out.
I'm saying all going well. If both fighters, Tyson Fury and Joshua.
If they're both standing after this business is finished with Wilder and he fights his two mandatories, and if Joshua is still standing, it's a huge fight. Of course I would do it.
So what he's talking about is basically, he's not really trying to look ahead. He truly feels that Anthony Joshua is going to get knocked out by Kubrat Pulev, which is the mandatory for AJ, right? And then for the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, we're still pending. The champ stepped up, Deontay Wilder, and accepted it. He had a 30-day, and that 30 days would expire on the 23rd, from my understanding. If they fought on the 22nd of February, those 30 days would expire on the 23rd. Around the 23rd, 24th, according to how many months it's in. Days are in a month. But anyway, tomato. So Bob Arum let it be known that the guy that was asking the questions, I'm not even thinking that far ahead. I'm truly believing that Anthony Joshua will get knocked out. And that's the way I report. You know what I'm saying? I really don't give the in-betweens like, well, if Anthony Joshua catches Deontay Wilder at the right time, it's possible. No, I've been saying all along, hey, Deontay Wilder will knock him out. Tyson Fury will freaking defeat Anthony Joshua. I'm not sure if he'll knock him out, but it's highly possible, because Anthony Joshua chin, it's like wet confetti, y'all. Seriously, it's like hot styrofoam. That's Anthony Joshua's chin. Like him and Amir Khan chin are bred from the same fibers. You know what I'm saying? The chromosomes are kind of like fragmented in between. When it came to building up that solid base around their chin, neurologically, something is not jumping over the synapses gap, telling their body to remain standing when they get cracked. I'm just serious. Anthony Joshua, his chin is suspect. And Deontay Wilder and Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are still the top two heavyweights in the sport, period. Until Anthony Joshua fights Fury or Wilder, guess what? He's still the third or fourth best heavyweight in the business, man, because he looked like trash against Andy Ruiz. That's fact. Bob even said it. Sir Ken say, World Combat Sports salute to the wrenches. And when Joshua was here, one of the security personnel threw water on American media personnel and his kid. I remember that going on. I tried to, pull out the longboard and surf the media waves. So therefore, I believe the person that his security threw water on was, if I'm correct, I think it was Blue. Yeah, I think it was Blue. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, it was a bit contentious over there, and shout out to Blue Blood, and he was asking some tough questions, I believe, before that. So it was good for them to kind of be embedded in the area before they kind of shut him out. They was able to get in, infiltrate, and ask those tough questions. But I'm thinking that it may have been Blue, but I thought Blue and Ness was in the building. I'm not sure, but it might have been Blue. I'm not sure. But to be honest about, Anthony Joshua's security throwing water on him, in my opinion, if it's just water, right, and I'm in somebody else's country, water can dry. You know what I'm saying? I don't put too much, emphasis into it. Water can dry and everything. But if it's any other substance other than water, then it might be an issue. If it's body liquid, it's spit, that's a whole nother story. But okay, it was Ness. Appreciate that. So I remember Ness, who boxes. Shout out to the boxing boys. So Ness turned to his left and he started walking like he was gonna go over there. And of course, the people stopped him. But at that point in time, I believe Ness and Blue, they was able to get in a little deep behind enemy lines and ask some tough questions. But at that point in time, when I was telling you all about the disconnect that Joshua has with the U.S. fans, look, if his only moment with the U.S. media wouldn't have been so distant and unrelatable, then he would have probably attracted. Like if he would have had a more solid bond, you know, with Blue or Ness at that point in time that they know out here on social media and YouTube, right? Then maybe more media outlets will like to report on Anthony Joshua that's over here in the US. If he would have actually gave a one-on-one interview and say, listen, I understand you all have some tough questions. Cool. I invite you in 5. Just say, put the number 5. I invite 5 media outlets that's over here from the US and let's talk boxing. He didn't do that. Not only did he not do it, but we all know Ness is damn good with interviewing. He would have been asked some tough questions. Blue the same way. He would have asked the tough questions. And it would have been tough. It would have been difficult. It would have been rough terrain for Anthony Joshua. So when he came over here for Jarrell Miller in NYC, what happened? They had perimeters set up and had their own media in place. And once again, we didn't see familiar faces from YouTube addressing Anthony Joshua, asking him the tough questions about this fight. So how are you supposed to relate? Showing up in the gym with Floyd Mayweather once every 2 years? I mean, if you would have took the time and spoke with them guys, then maybe you would have had some other media that actually gave a damn about reporting on you. If you're about to fight Kubrat Pulev, Alexander Povetkin, Joseph Parker, because times have changed. Seriously, times has changed. From him stepping in there fighting Alexander Povetkin's, you know, people always want to talk about money. You know, the 2-fight Wembley deal that went to the gutter. He fought September 22nd, 2018, and the April 13th date went in the trash. If by chance he would have had the opportunity to speak with U.S. media when he came over here for Jarrell Miller, instead of walking off stage like he was above everybody else, then he wouldn't have the disrespect. But guess what? Tyson Fury has filled all of that. They will support Tyson Fury because he talks a lot of shit. He's approachable, and you know, on top of him being a grimy dude, he's much more entertaining than Anthony Joshua. Period. So once again, you know, if Ness and Blue would have actually had the opportunity to speak to Anthony Joshua one-on-one, man, it would have changed it. Look, it would have changed the scope of boxing when it comes to this platform right here on YouTube. It would have, because that's telling a lot of people that Anthony Joshua is willing to be asked the tough questions and stand in the fire and answering them, instead of hiring out across the pond and having media in place so he can only answer certain questions, the soft questions. You know what I'm saying? Nah. But appreciate that, man. Sir Ken said it was Ness, but Blue and his child was right there. So yeah, there you go. I know I had a little bit of a canopy over it. So yeah, it was Ness and Blue, and just the fact that you would throw water, you know, really on people. Period. And if he had his kid there, that's even worse. But I put it like this: if I'm going into a situation that I believe is going to be hostile or unwelcoming, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to bring my kid there unless he's old enough to understand what's going on. Like if they hot, you know, backside of what, teens, 18, 19, something like that, they old enough to understand what's going on, or they've been a part of the sport and know the routine. But appreciate that info, y'all. Real talk, appreciate that info.
I've got to get your opinion as well. If you enjoy that beer, Bob. I've got to get your opinion as well. The Nevada State Commission's cancelled the face-off at the weigh-in. A lot of fans, a lot of media are unhappy about that.
Okay, that's about it with this video. All I wanted to do is kind of touch bases on what Bob Arum said. I felt it was extremely important because we have too many whining babies who still adult appropriate, right? But they still sucking on the nipple. You're still sucking on the nipple, man. Get off the nipple of these neighboring fighters and putting them over fighters in your own freaking backyard. Come on, man. Do better. That's all I'm saying. Just do better. So I'm going to do another screen share. And This fight right here in particular, right? James Lights Out Toney, one of the most exciting fighters. You know, when he was on, he was on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to pull up his fight with BARKLEY. Just an amazing fight to watch, man. Watching James Toney at work, it was just unfreaking believable. The way he was able to fight on the inside, outside, stick BARKLEY with the uppercut. I mean, goddamn, James Toney was in shape. Dude, come on, man. Did y'all see what was playing out in front of you with this fight? It was an amazing fight to watch, y'all. And let me kick start this off, man. James Toney, this particular fight was super mid. James Toney record out the sport 77-10, man. I believe he had like 47 knockouts. Man, we all know who James Toney is, man. Stop playing. Here we go.
It should be Toney versus BARKLEY because I'm the champ.
Let me put this up here.
You know, he don't have the title. He's coming up to fight me for my title. That's why it should be that way.
I worked extra hard for this one, though, because this is somebody that I want to finish. I don't even want to hear about James Toney. I do this.
All the things that my mother have been praying for me and my brothers and all of us, God kept his hands on me. And I weathered the storm. God forbid if I ever pass away, you know, I want all the things that my mother, you know, had been praying for, you know, for me and my brothers and all of us. God kept his hands on me. And yeah.
If you're a real boxing fan, you've come to the right place. Ringside at the indoor pavilion at Caesar's Palace for the battle between BARKLEY, James Toney.
And I will be stopping this periodically just to show you the work that was put in watching BARKLEY and James Toney, man.
Let's go back to HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant.
A pretty fair middleweight named Sugar Ray Robinson once said, "I'm in a hurtin' business." So here we are in a fight that figures to be a hurtin' fight. Although it makes us warm and fuzzy to know BARKLEY.
I'm going to skip past because I don't want to hear that. It's not why I'm here.
Won him accolades as the fighter of the year, but several of his fights since then have won him.
Where is this at in boxing? Where?
Wanting to prove himself a worthy champion, James was prepared to fight the toughest challenges. Against #1 contender Reggie Johnson, Toney was down the first time in his career, but squeaked back to win a split decision. Then James Toney was pitted against the tough but aging Mike McCallum. Their first meeting, a battle, earned Toney a controversial draw. Their rematch, a victory for James, left fans still unimpressed. His squaring off against Dave Tiberi produced his most controversial fight to date, while his bout with Glenn Wolfe again left with wondering. There's no doubt.
Did you just see that? Did you see that combination? Man, where's that at right now? Damn. He didn't even exit out of the combination. He stayed there.
But as long as
let me get to this fight.
And some people suspect that all the great things he's done in the ring were that one punch that knocked out Michael Nunn. that's awfully harsh criticism on a kid who keeps winning.
But he's generated a lot of that harsh criticism by.
And the fight with Michael Nunn was also outstanding, right? But I wanted to like bring up the James Toney versus Iran Barkley because of the way he boxed, how he boxed on the inside. Why isn't it being inserted in today's boxing? You know, it was just a beautiful art to watch, man, the way he crafted and executed his strategy in this fight.
Two judges' cards to pull that one out. In the win against Johnson, he was knocked down for the first time in his career, and Johnson's people hotly disputed the split decision.
These fighters are, and you can see what Barkley's fight plan is to come out throwing a lot of.
Let me hurry and get to it.
Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with gold.
James Toney looked in shape, looked ready.
167 pounds. Fighting out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. He brings
composed,
undefeated, 33-0, 2 draws, 22 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the challenger, the IBF middleweight champion of the
no
world,
mean mugging, nothing. He put his hand on his hips like, what, man? What are you talking about? I'm here. This is, look, he's going there with a tough opponent. Even though he had losses at this time, Iran Barkley, James Toney was undefeated. Still, it was a good fight, man. A lot of people thought, man, Iran Barkley was going to go through James Toney, man. Iran Barkley ain't in to mess with, man. Come on, man. Where's this at in boxing? Today, shit. Look at the way Iran Barkley look. Shit. This bug got his arms out like I'm ready for war, dog. What's going on? Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens, man. Salute to you. Y'all be sure to subscribe to that man's channel, man. Boxing Media.
You know, I see this fight as an athlete. Toney, who was a high school quarterback, against a warrior, Barkley, in what may just turn out to be a Warriors game.
What's going on, Robert Hardy?
Toney can maintain his poise in the face of what is expected to be fierce pass rush.
Look, is anybody giving James Toney instruction? Look at this opening bell now.
Take somebody strong and willing. Barkley comes out with an apparent urge to overwhelm Toney from the beginning, and Toney.
You can see Barkley's game plan already. He's going to the freaking body. The head move, but the body don't. Look at James Toney, man. This is the freaking opening minute. Iran Barkley is the bigger fighter.
But he shouldn't throw too many of them the first round. Well, already you've seen Toney.
Look at those double tripling up on the jab from Toney.
Winging wide as he loves to do. He stepped right up the middle to take it down.
Man, this is what I like. Check out the uppercuts of James Toney, man. Look how he trapping the arm.
Wow, wait in and play that game. And now we're into stage 2. Toney, who's often accused of not fighting the.
He just threw a double left hook, man. And he's standing in the corner. He ain't panicking or nothing. Short right hook.
In the body, that could have some telling point as the fight goes along. Barkley will keep going to the body.
Look at his eyes, man. Look at Toney's eyes. He sees. He's not overcompensating by turning to his left, trying to see everything. Look at that head movement, that defense, man. Sneaky uppercuts on the inside. He shifts sides, man, sticking with a left hook to the body. Man, he doubled up on that hook, man. Pretty. He said, man, I'll walk away, reset right quick. Iran Barkley sticking to the game plan, going to Toney's body. He wanted to break Toney down by the body.
Couldn't ask for a more entertaining first 2 minutes of the fight. It was everything the experts expected it to be.
Look at that reach around left hook, man. Come on, again. Beautiful work, man. Just beautiful work.
Toney looks very relaxed and very confident early on in his first bout against a
man, that right uppercut.
High-skilled.
Ooh, one up top, one to the body, just nasty. Ugh. Look at those combinations, man. Come on already, bro. Man, if y'all boxers don't want to watch this fight, watch this real, man. Nice 1-2 by Barkley. Now he decided to go up top because Toney keeps sticking him. Barkley going to the wrong corner. Now check this out. Look at Toney, man. Not breathing hard. Calm of the storm. What was that instruction? He'll sucker for the uppercut. He'll sucker. He'll sucker for the uppercut.
Okay, that's all he's gonna do. He's standing right up. That's all. He's standing right up. That's all.
Now take a look at Barkley's eyes right now. They're not as swole, right? They're pretty decent, right? You know, check that out. This is only after the first round. Boxing Conversation said great counters by James. Absolutely, man. Beautiful counters.
Because if Barkley is still there, this is the fight. He's going to come on with his strength.
Look at those hooks to the body, man. Just super nasty by Iran. Both of these guys was throwing hooks to the body, just super nasty. So you notice the first half of it, Iran was thinking about, you know, hey, I'm gonna go to the body, but both of them switched up. I mean, he switched up in the second round.
Barkley in power shot, 23-17.
Toney's going to have to settle in and realize
Toney's up here tripling up the jab, man. Easy. Where's this at in boxing, man?
It could be an easy fight for him, but if he doesn't, he's going to get rocked and rolled tonight.
And incidentally, the blood was from Barkley's nose.
Look how Toney keeps shifting sides. Left, right. You know, every time he shifts sides, he cashes in on it. He ain't just shifting for extra movement, just for fun. He shifts sides to put work in. Look at that head movement, man, the combinations. Now that shot right there was nice on the shoulder by Iran. Straight right. Toney still fighting. Bam, one to the body on the out. Still sticking to the jab. 3, 4. Iran Barkley, tough, man.
Before Toney realized I've got to respect this big man's power.
Barkley just missing with
damn, nice shot by Barkley. Look at these guys tripling up on the jab, man.
160 pounds, those right hands that you turn don't hurt that much. 68, those right hands numb your legs.
Woo! Uppercut by James Toney was just one to the head, one to the body.
And Toney lands another one in there.
Those uppercuts got to be followed by something around the side, from the body punches, chest and to the side.
I agree, George.
This guy's regularly.
He said those uppercuts got to be followed up. Look at that slick head movement on the inside by James Toney. Like, this is close quarters boxing, y'all. Shoulder to shoulder, chest to chest. Phone booth.
Toney landing with the jab. Barkley just steps past it to come inside.
Uppercut with a hook.
Toney's hands, still a factor.
4-punch combination, easy by Toney. Woo! Somebody called 911. That uppercut is just belligerent.
Jabbing and not jumping backwards. When you see a fighter do that, that means he's confident. Toney fighting
still at the end of the bell, you know, had his right guard up.
Keeping his poise, picking his shot.
Just beautiful work, man. from both fighters, but more so James Toney, man. The way he was getting off on his combinations, shooting the uppercut. I mean, the way he was shooting uppercuts and shifting sides, man, and going to the body. You heard what Tony just said?
All right. How you feel, baby? All right.
He's in shape.
Hit him in the muscle. That's what we gotta have. Right. Hit him in the muscle. Get left handed down already. Right. Hit him in the muscle. Left handed down already. All right. Let's keep on doing the same thing. Keep doing the same thing, Jam. That's all. Okay. That's all. But I need more than Jam.
Iran Barkley's corner told him keep doing the same thing, but they need more to jab, which is true.
James Toney is very, very difficult to hit on the head. People have said he has a small head, and he rolls his shoulders away from.
Look at that.
Very cleverly.
Shoulder rolling on the inside, man. Mouth closed. Iran taking deep breaths. That's a tremendous work rate they got going on.
And Barkley, George, is a guy who wants to hit you anywhere he can make contact.
Right. Now, Tony has told all the whoop kickers about how he's going to knock him out.
Hey, check this out. Check out the footwork of James Toney, too. Check out his footwork. It's not sporadic, man. It's not excessive amount of energy that you don't need to burn. Look at the footwork, too. Woo! Came across with that right hook, man.
Tony was hit, but he's using the left hand liberally.
The way he keep distance just enough so he can shoot that uppercut and hook. Look at that. 3 jabs and then came with the right uppercut, man. Beautiful work. Just beautiful work, man. 3 jabs. That's just like, look, that's default.
Now he should settle down, but he's going to think the crowd is going to say, you can't punch it.
And this is on the inside, too. Him creating distance and popping the jab out there. See, that's default, man. It's just good work, solid work, man.
Another uppercut lands inside. Most effective punch of the bout for Toney by a wide margin. Toney walking away.
Look at the head movement, shouty, and then sticking with the right uppercut.
Fairly steady flow of blood now coming out of both of Iran Barkley's nostrils.
Y'all think these punches ain't not landing?
Because he wanted him to be busted in the eyes at this point. Good right hand by
So that was a good right hand, overhand right by Barkley, because you know Toney was taking, you know, he was watching. Look at this work though on the inside in the corner. Shit, he ain't even trying to go nowhere. He's not even trying to move out of the damn garage. He's parking this, man. He say, hey, this is where you want to fight. I'll give it to you. Look how he shifts sides, man. Went from the left and the right uppercut, man. Tripling up the jab. Ooh, what? Ooh. Somebody called the pastor for prayer.
Stepping in without his mouthpiece, showing his courage and his resiliency.
Man, he missed with the right hook and then avoided punishment, man.
Iran Barkley does take a punch, as you say, Jim, but it's not a virtue to take many hard, clean punches. And you know something?
Man said, classic indeed, bro. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for dropping in. Real talk. Salute.
Remember, he once had a detached retina in his left eye.
He's had 2 detached retina surgeries in the left eye. There's a solid left hook by Toney. Barkley comes back with a left to the body. More Barkley stuff to the body. I'm sorry, George. If Toney would only back away.
He's up here jabbing on the back foot. He's still jabbing going backwards. If you look at Iran Barkley's face now from the first round to now, you can tell the effect those punches had to James Toney. Like when he landed, it may not seem like that they're doing much damage or disrupting the rhythm of Iran Barkley, but they landed. When you're shifting side, boom! Damn, that right cross, boy.
Outside of the ring. Once more with feeling. Measuring his opponent. Very cool inside. Very impressive, Toney. He is fighting up and surpassing the level of his opponent. So
Oh, he is surpassing the level of his opponent. He was shining on this night.
Can he take a second win? Can he rest him? That's not a smart idea.
Well, they must be worried about
round number 4.
Maybe that nose is broken, George, and that's why it's bleeding so profusely.
You work with Q-tips, even a bigger Q-tips, but you don't stick that much stuff up when the guy's supposed to be resting in the corner.
Good point.
Look at that step back uppercut.
After a right uppercut,
Then stick to the jab, shift sides, hook to the body. Still on the triple jab. I mean, why do people not recognize how fast James Toney hands was right here? Like, god damn.
problem that Barkley is having, and wouldn't let him get close because he's got to get close to feel where he is.
I ran Barkley, resulting back to what he did in the first round, just going to the body, leaning in on Toney.
He just doesn't see what he.
He had a head movement, just a subtle head movement. Sneaky uppercut, man. He wasn't even looking at Iran Barkley when he threw that. Like, just feeling.
Well, this has been Iran's method for years. Lean in, shoulder the opponent.
Let me go back to this subtle movement by Toney.
This is brilliant stuff from James Toney.
If Toney would step around to the other side of the ring, he can see the vision problem that Barkley is having, and wouldn't let him get close because he's got to get close to feel where he is. He's punching by feel now. He just doesn't see.
Exactly. Punching off feeling. You know, that pop that left uppercut up there.
Low blow, Toney.
Right uppercut.
Well, this has been Iran's
Another one. That's like 4 uppercuts. Did you just see the movement, the shifts, man, in his shoulders when he was avoiding punches?
And he's thrown a lot of punches to Toney's hip. Put a belt in that fashion. This is not
Short, quick, damn left hook on the inside. Turned him. Ooh, wait.
Toney spins away and shows off his hand speed and combinations again.
Woo.
James Toney piling up points early against Iran.
I mean, that's just a beautiful mastery going on the inside. Though he, you know, he really didn't make Iran Barkley, you know, pay any extra damage from turning him out like that. He's still in control of the fight.
It was a fight in which he had been thoroughly dominated all along.
Iran Barkley want to lean in. Toney said, I'm going to keep on down, stamping these damn uppercuts to your forehead. Defense. Hook to the body. Iran Barkley, giving him credit. He was still going to what's there in front of him, the body.
I may as well do the same thing Iran does and whack away at the liver.
Barkley starting to push him into the corner.
Woo! Left hook, duck under, slip. 1-2 combination. Man, he hit him with a left hook and then an uppercut with the same hand. Left hook with a left uppercut. If you blink, you missed it. It's just smooth, man. The fluidity, man, and what he's doing on the inside is just so freaking smooth. Beautiful freaking art, man, of the Sweet Signs boxing on the inside by James Toney.
Toney has shown so far that his claim that he could be more.
Man, if I was a fighter, I would definitely, you know, play this real, study it.
Toney's connecting nearly half of his punches in this round, 18 of 43 so far. Barkley didn't get a chance to dab at the blood streaming from his nose while he got that glove reround.
Tripling up, man, come on. That's like 7 jabs?
7 of them. Barkley jabs back. Toney knocks
Jesus
him out.
Christ.
Again, this time with a short left hook.
Come on, bro. Come on, man. Well, what are we looking at? We're looking at the sweet signs. Inside counter punching.
How do you score the bout so far?
dirty boxing, man.
20-36, James Toney. I think he's just winning this fight on clean punching. You know, we score on clean punching, effective, aggressive.
Clean ain't the word.
James Toney is winning this basically on the clean punching.
Look, he's accurate too. Clean punches. He's very accurate with his punches. You see that Iran Barkley is wearing this fight.
Now you're going to see the 3 right hands that Toney
Look how he blocked that left hook from Iran. Boom! Boom!
2, 3.
Gave him another one. 3 right hands.
Well, that's Iran. He loves to rumble. At the time at which, or at the age.
Okay, Iran Barkley come out with 4 jabs. All right.
Iran
We see you.
Life and death street gang in the Bronx named the Black Spades.
The thing about being a fighter, you got no game. You got to do it all by yourself.
Toney, there's splendid right in there.
James Toney was bent over so low, man. Barkley still couldn't hit him with the left uppercut.
Barkley chases Toney to land.
He was facing away from Iran Barkley and then turned in and tried to shoot that right uppercut. Slick.
Starts punching away to the hip joint.
Iran Barkley's just leaning on him, man. He's just leaning on him.
Well, elaborate on that, George, because to the average
Going to the
guy,
body.
it might not look as though those punches mean anything.
Yeah, you go to your corner, you can barely sit down on your
Man.
stool because your hip is sore.
Look at that defense, man.
Because you're not hurt on
Still sticking to the uppercut. That's 3 uppercuts. A right hook. Showing being elusive. Hit him with another uppercut.
Looking up high, and he hasn't glanced down yet.
He's looking for
He's hit
headbutts.
once. Keep him up. He's only said it once.
Yeah, he's watching for headbutts, which is another frequent occurrence in Barkley's fights because of his style.
He's admonished once.
I mean, Barkley ain't backing down, but
Pull this guy up and say, "You're not
did you
gonna
see
hurt
that,
me."
man?
Double right inside.
Double right hook, man.
Saw the blood fly from Barkley's head.
About Toney, he weighed in at 168.
James Toney is not even trying to move out of the corner. This is his wheelhouse. This is what he likes in this particular fight. He missed. He slipped the uppercut. He slipped the hook.
No, I mean, I know Barkley was up. Iran Barkley must have
Them punches are so sharp, man, on the inside.
You can't help. Can't lean on you.
Woo, right off the chin, man. Right on the jawline, man. Like, damn.
Now you're telling me, George,
This is hard work on the inside by both guys. Iran Barkley got his head on James Toney's shoulder.
Barkley is getting enough here and there.
James creating just enough space to get off. See that? Finishing with the 3 jabs. Look at that damn right hand. Punishing Barkley. Woo.
Toney walks away after once again landing a flurry inside. Blood streaming from Barkley's nose, and Iran, the warrior, continues to chase James.
Iran still lean on him, digging to the body.
Switchblade on an elephant. Sometimes those quick shots may look like they hurt, but this big hurt.
Well, this is a primitive game, and Barkley is a primitive fighter. But the man with the
Larry Merchant saying Barkley is a primitive fighter. Well, his game plan is a bit antiquated, but I'm gonna call him a primitive fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's just being outworked. You know, James Toney, man, mindset is on a whole nother freaking stratosphere right now. When he fought Iran Barkley, he's freaking levels ahead in the thought process on what he's gonna delegate to Iran Barkley, because Iran making it. He's there. He's not really making it a difficult assignment for James Toney because of his movement. He's right there in front against a counter puncher like James Toney. Look at that eye. Yeah, they're telling them we got it. Like they really thought they was gonna break James Toney down, who doesn't seem like he's breathing hard right now.
That he's probably swallowing a good deal of it during the rounds. How much will that bother him?
I do believe, but this guy's accustomed to being in this kind of trouble. He probably gets it in the gym, so he's not out of tune with it. He doesn't mind right now.
Does he notice?
They go right
He
back.
doesn't even care.
Defense by James Toney. Jesus Christ, man. And y'all don't mention James Toney hand speed back in the day. That was off the ropes. I got to see that again. I just got to see it again.
Blood there. You got the impression that he's probably swallowing a good deal of it during the rounds. How much will that bother him?
I do believe, but this guy's accustomed to being in this kind of trouble.
James threw that right hook to the body, right? And Iran Barkley counted it, and James already had his hand up.
He doesn't even care.
He's boom, boom.
Tony rolled to go underneath. He keeps going on.
Tony with magnificent hand. You won't often see that kind of flurry at 168 pounds.
He walk away, reset, catch his breath. Iran Barkley get back to work, leaning on that left shoulder, digging to the body. And some of those shots are off the elbow of Tony.
That's just the fighter like Barkley thinks.
Tony getting back on the wheels, you know, moving around.
He's here to try to score a knockout. So losing rounds doesn't much bother Iran Barkley.
As far as I'm concerned,
In the sixth round, people, sixth round.
Coach for a round now. We do. Suck up his energy and go for the seventh, go for the eighth, ninth.
Iran Barkley, see, that's why he was so susceptible to those uppercuts. He just wanted to stay leaning on James Toney left shoulder. And James was making him pay, man. He was cashing in on that damn chin.
He knows the coach. I don't think his corner is even aware of the need.
He was, man.
The corners never had him in with a
Leopold say Iran was a Barkley, but his swelling will often let him down. But he was a good fighter. Just Toney was too much. Man, you know, I never go against, you know, Iran Barkley say he was anything less than. On this day, James Toney just saw everything, man. Iran was tough to just keep his head on the shoulder like that. And he's feeling those uppercuts. He's just eating them. Look at that. That was 3. Then Toney goes to the hooks, uppercut again. And he's not just swinging wildly. He's still using defense on the inside. His hands are still up. If his hands ain't up, his head moving. And that's with Iran Barkley's head resting on his left shoulder. You know how you know how grinding this is? Look, James Toney switching. He's shifting side to side, man.
Don't push him. It's going to wear you out.
Leans on James. He's pushing his legs down on the canvas all the time.
So he's following somebody's plan.
Overhand right.
There's a left hook that landed for Barkley. Larry?
Well, I think punches where you're at
Man,
also, George.
Barkley just stand to the damn plan, man.
They just don't wear the big guys out like they do the smaller guys.
Tony just bobbing his head, man. Still ain't breathing hard. That was a 6th round right there. Now, Iran Barkley's eyes are showing the effect from that right uppercut of James Toney. Come on, that left eye is showing the effect. It looks like he's eating him because his head is down in the fight and everything. And he is. But his face, man, that would be his detriment. Just standing on the inside with a counterpuncher like James Toney.
Very, very clever.
Ooh.
Just 24 years old. Didn't start really
hit it with the right, then come over with the right hook. Boom. Come over behind the guard. Bang.
He has a really good athlete's feel.
Give him another one straight.
What's going on in the ring?
And Iran Barkley's corner was still encouraging him, like pretty much to stick to the same plan. They see that they see him swelling up like a mushroom. Toney on his feet. Start the 7th. Head movement. Look at that beautiful head movement. He's not really even moving, you know, like his foot movement. He's not really creating space. He's just using lateral movement side to side.
You are looking at a statistical mismatch.
Statistical mismatch.
Right now, although it could turn around.
And the one and only Jim Lampley.
Of what has happened.
Ooh, that right hand.
It's been all James Toney.
Iran Barkley go back and dig it to the body.
That in the war of attrition, things will begin to go his way later.
What if he just would have stepped back, Barkley, postured up a little bit, and worked behind that jab a little bit? Now at this point, he might not be able to see everything.
Yeah, the second half of the fight.
Look at Tony bouncing around in the 7th round, man.
Tony did some serious damage.
Doubling up on the left.
It does look like he's slowing up a little bit here. Tony, for the first time, jab to the body. That's hard to see a young fella do.
This pace, man, is very taxing.
David Barkley's left eye is.
Look at that defense. He just caught Barkley's left hook, man.
Some would say, well, that vision was already badly compromised.
That Barkley's got one big left arm. That thing turns
4 jabs right there for you.
You're gonna wake up in your dressing room.
He goes back to leaning on Tony's left shoulder, and Tony's sticking with the right uppercut off the back foot.
And they are still coming with some frequency.
Barkley's from that school. Not how you play the game. It's winning against.
Okay, start to get up. Pull your arm back.
Sonny Liston said that.
That would be the old school, right?
Keep him up. Keep him up.
Iran missed with that right uppercut, man.
Was in some of the most distinguished schools of hard knocks. Back before he was Friday.
Walks away and turns his head like nothing has happened.
James reset.
That right hand over
Stick with the jab.
Over and under. Brilliant display of technique by James Toney.
Barkley's left eye is completely starting to shut up now.
Now Barkley is trying to jab with his eye closing up in round 7. It's just a bad move. Now you forced the fight on the inside because you don't have good vision.
Impressive performance. And all the talk about how different he'd be at 168 pounds seems to be fulfilled with his performance here tonight.
Punching it out. Punching it out.
Now for the first time, Barkley is hanging on and holding. He's not throwing shots.
Now, Iran Barkley has slowed down.
What's going on, Line Killer? Salute, man. 8th round on deck, man. Shout out to the Line Killer. Make sure you sit up here and let me get to some of these Facebook. Robert Hardy said Tony was the king of being uncomfortable, while uncomfortable. Man, real talk, man. Real talk.
The only round I get to Iran Barkley was round 6.
Hardy said Tony versus McCallum 1 and 2 were the best highly skilled fights I've seen. Yeah, man, I just picked this one because, on the inside, Tony fighting on the inside, it's just a classic. It's just a freaking assignment for those who want to really tune in and watch it. Pierre Tony, what's good? Tony was a great. It runs in my family with the movement. Absolutely, man. I don't know how many times I watched this fight. It's just amazing to see them put in grind. I mean, I'm talking about that grinding, man. Nathaniel.
Well, Logic told you that
is the middleweight name, okay?
Like Tony might well feast on somebody who will come to him.
Make his punches count.
By no means out of this picture yet.
Okay, we'll watch that, George. 7 rounds down, 5 rounds to go. Tony landed 72% of his punches in round number 7.
Barkley stopped with the hold a little bit because those uppercuts are starting to hurt. He should have been doing that earlier. When you bump,
this is the 8th round. Tony still on the jab, active, man, active on the jab, still shooting that sneaky ass sly freaking uppercut, that right uppercut, man. That was a 1-2 combination. You barely even knew he even threw it. Look at that face. Come on, man.
Still trying to hurry things up.
Iran's a warrior, though. Barkley was a warrior, hands down, period.
Yesterday, we saw
up and down.
Look at George. Look at Steele.
Computer boxing game with a friend.
Steele say all the way around. Make sure you get hey, Steele should have been there for the freaking Fury fight. Take that goddamn left glove up. All the way around. Tighten up those laces.
In the ring with Roy Jones at 168 pounds.
Not yet. We've got a few more rounds to go. George, hang in there. If only we could tell Barkley to just hang in there. Barkley's starting to jab now. This should have been a weapon for him early on.
See what I said? Should have been a jab. This jab should have been early for Barkley, man.
Accurate power punching by James Toney.
And Tony's just too much, man. He's too perfect on this fight, man, this night. Right uppercut and then come with the hook. Look at that hand speed, man. Look how wild and erratic Barkley's trying to do with his eyes closed. He really can't even see the target. He can't even really see who's in front of him now. He knew who was there in the first round, but that has since gone away, man.
Barkley goes back to whacking away at the liver while clinching James Toney. Toney takes one of his periodic.
I don't see the rail by ringside talking about, ooh, stop the fight, stop the fight. We love our champ. So, I ran Barkley taking some heat. Look how James Toney shift his head. Shift his head left to right, ducked under, sticking to the body. He ain't trying to move out of the corner. He don't have to, man. Look at the head movement, man. Just subtle head movement.
Looks real good on James Toney. And for 32,
man, damn.
Left hooks from Toney.
3 punches right there. Look at the head speed, man. Look at that left uppercut. Jesus Christ, man. I know I ran Barkley was there, but damn, just to look at the skill set, look at the technical delegation by Toney, man. The triple jab has been there all fight for this guy, man.
With spectacular punch stat statistics, no doubt.
Still on his feet, moving around, mouth closed, showing he in shape. A tremendous pace throughout the fight, y'all. It's just something you just don't see this day and time. You just don't see head movement like that. Shifting from side to side, shooting the uppercuts, going up top to the head to the body. Most of the time you see a hook to the body, then to the head. James Toney was going to the head sometime first, then checking the body second.
I need a lot of pressure this round. Jump on him. Make the fight.
I just didn't agree with the instructions that they was giving him. Talking about jump on him. He been on him. He leaning on him. The man can't now match speed for speed on this night. He couldn't match speed for speed that night. Jump on him. His head is resting on Tony's shoulder. Man, it's the 8th round, man. Toney barely even freaking breathing, yo.
Not only that, the doctors are really taking notice to their left eye. They don't like what they see.
Bouncing on his feet. I ran Barkley go right back to camping out on that shoulder, man, where he's comfortable at. Man, he's sitting on the damn middle rope, Toney, throwing shots.
Asking for what would amount to one last stand.
That right hand is up of Toney's. Just a little basic defense on the inside, man. Never abandoning that. That uppercut is just a stalker, man. Damn, overhand right, step back, slip. I ran Barkley straight right. Now Barkley is just desperate. His vision is partially gone, but Toney's still making him pay, man. Doubling up the jab to the body.
And now Toney is able to jab with impunity because Barkley can't even see it coming.
Punching it out.
So James, if he wants to, can just flick the jab, pile up points, and continue to annoy Iran as Iran tries to mount the straightforward headlong.
What's beautiful about this is that it don't even seem like, Toney is putting forth much effort in throwing the punches. They just coming so natural. He's just setting up these punch combination sets with ease. Like, it's just with ease, man. Like somebody would be shadow boxing on the bag or something. He's just setting them up with no hesitation. Just so fluent.
Well, this is going to greatly improve James Toney's reputation.
Bouncing on his feet, man.
Because tonight he has been everything that he always claimed he could. but seemed to fall short
Ooh,
of speed.
slipped that damn left hand by Iran Barkley. This is the 8th round and still head movement like that, man.
Yeah, that's what I meant in this round. He's missed it a bunch.
All it takes is one left hook, and believe me, we can start talking a different language. Iran Barkley.
I know, George. I know you're trying to protect my
Freaking
reputation.
left hook, still belligerent, just down dirty. Iran still going to the body, right, left hook to the body. A lot less on it though. Toney going back to the 3 jabs, sticking with the right head movement. Everything complement the package of Toney, man. You know, when he's in here executing his boxing curriculum, man. Head movement, speed,
I said at the start of this fight that Toney was favored.
execution, selection, man. His entire selection. Iran Barkley, he said no, but if you really wanted it not, you know what I'm saying, if you really persisted in not being stopped, you would have turned face and was like, no, man, I got it. But Iran Barkley knew he was behind it. He couldn't do anything, man. He couldn't do anything.
Iran Barkley made $1 million tonight, probably his largest payday. I'm glad of it. We'll go on fight. Know him. But it's questionable whether he
Sportsmanship at the end.
good young fighters again with that style.
That was a masterful performance, man. It's one of my classics, man.
In terms of real championship level,
There was a lot of freaking
Iran Barkley may well have met the end of the road.
animosity before this fight.
The respectful hug between Toney and the man who, in effect, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, the former Eddie Gregory.
Shout out to Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, man. Shout out to him.
Comes up classy in the end.
Well, there's nobody who has more respect for a fighter than his opponent when he's been in that kind.
It's time to relax.
So, Kier, Toney said, man, he's so patient. Yeah, man, Toney was patient in the corner. Like, you saw sometimes when, just check, when you saw the Floyd Mayweather fight with Canelo Alvarez, how Floyd really left his feet to move from the ropes. He left his feet, he jumped out, and then he looked out into the audience because Canelo missed with the straight, right? And Toney really didn't exhaust energy like that. Like when he was in the corner, it was almost like he was at home. He was in his living room reclined. And, you know, he still was in control of what channels he was going to change. You know what I'm saying? If he wanted to throw the left, right, if he wanted to shoot the uppercut, it was just on time. It was very much on time, man. You know, the fluidity and patience that he had up against the ropes like that would cause some fighters to panic. Being that he was in there with a tough fighter like Barkley, it's a lot of what a new school fighter can look and how to fight in the corner like James Toney was doing in that fight. He wasn't just standing in there taking punishment. Somehow, some way with him, he can still see what was going on to his left when his head was to resting on, I wouldn't say resting, it was to Iran Barkley's on his left side, and Iran Barkley was trying to load up with that right hand. It seemed like any sort of movement, Toney would make a change. He would shift. He would change levels if he had to, without even really looking at Iran Barkley throwing that shot. It was a nice freaking fight to watch over and over again, man. I know it kind of slowed down just a tad bit in the 7th and 8th round, you know, with Iran Barkley wearing the fight and stuff, but Leopold say Iran was a warrior. Yeah, but his swelling off to let him down. But he was a good fighter. Just Toney was too much. That was a championship fight, man. And the game plan that Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, I guess they wanted to implement against James Toney, it wasn't working in the first 2 or 3 rounds. If the whole plan was to come in there and lean on Toney and wear him down to the body to slow him down, so effectively they believe that Iran Barkley would have much more success as the fight went on, they was wrong. It was wrong. Often I wonder why they don't talk about the hand speed. I know he's not really in the conversation of having like this tremendous amount of hand speed, but we're talking about at that point in his career, man, you have to look how punctual James Toney was, man, how he was able to land his accuracy and throwing that amount of punches, tripling up on the jab consistently over and over again, going to the head, to the body, body to the head, well-placed shots. It was a nice fight, man. Shout out to Lights Out James Toney, man. Legend of boxing, man. Real talk. It's always a pleasure watching your fights, man. I just wish, more fighters today have studied film. Instead of being on IG and Facebook, just goddamn study some film, man. Sit down and study some film. If you ain't studying some film and you don't stand up and start trying to emulate that fighter, that to me ain't studying film. Like studying film, we're not talking about football studying film. Like anybody who fight and you watching a fighter and you see something, it's like, shit, let me try to emulate that, let me get up and move like that and shoot, emulate the freaking hand movement, the shot selection. Hey, listen, the reason why I'm up here showing classic fights because I'm not gonna talk about the same subject over and over again. I like looking at fights because it's educational to me and for those who tuning in. This is James Toney and McCallum. Let me see if I can. Main events, man.
Coming up next, the main event.
Main events.
Trying to confuse Toney early.
You talked about the searching to battle back and
advantage. The IBF rules, 3 knock.
Let me share this right quick. Man, we can talk about the same thing every freaking day, but you got to have some type of education to the game. The pretty much further your education to talk about it.
Not in effect.
James Toney versus Mike McCallum won.
And the scoring on the 10-point must system. We're ready to go, so we go back to that night in Atlantic City.
Trump Plaza.
you gentlemen were given your instructions at the weigh-in. You must obey my commands at all times and respect the bell at all times. Are there any questions? Touch them up. Put your hands out. We don't go unless we touch.
That's a stare down right there, boy. What are you talking about? Woo!
The intimidation game in the middle of the ring. James Toney says that he will walk right through Mike McCallum, the reigning IBF middleweight champion, putting that on the line against the former 2-time world champ, Mike McCallum, who says, I've seen it all, and this cocky upstart cannot intimidate me. First round scheduled for 12. And Sean, what do you expect right here at the outset?
This is a different James Toney than we've seen in the past.
Hey, shout out, and prayers and blessing goes out to Roger Mayweather, who passed today at 58 years old. Shout out to the OG, man, aka Black Mamba. You know what I'm saying? Black Mamba. Rest in peace.
A low blow by Mike McCallum. That wasn't all McCallum's fault, though. James Toney was moving in a little bit too close, and he got nailed.
And he understood that, touches gloves with McCallum.
Now you have boxers boxing. Both of these guys stand up and they boxing. McCallum sharp, Toney sharp. Definitely technicians. Definitely.
Wonder if he may not be a few years older than 35. Toney, at the age of just
look at those sharp jabs to the body by McCallum. Did you see that subtle defense by Toney though? When McCallum was going to the body and then tried to come up top with the hook, James had his glove up. Stiff jab by McCallum, man. Fundamentals like a mother. The jab is very, very active, man.
Halfway through round number 1. And it is McCallum.
That jab was a little low.
Skills. The head face.
You got to give it up. McCallum came out, man, and doing, like, once again, having that type of jab, man.
Toney has not always been that way, though, Al. He was before a good boxer. Now he realizes
keeping the stick active early, man.
Michael Hunt fight and this championship, the confidence that brings you, he realizes he too has the punch.
Ooh, that counter left.
Tony with a combination, looking to go upstairs, while Mike McCallum, living up to his nickname, the body snatcher, tries to take away the body first, and he's going downstairs at Toney.
McCallum quick popping that jab out there. Stick is hot.
Try to get in with a flurry and then get out.
You know, this is a championship world-class fight. Both of these two don't want to let this fight get away from them. They want to control. And
if you don't believe this is boxing right here, two technicians going at it, only round 1. I mean, this is very strict, sound fundamentals going on, high-level boxing on the inside. It ain't no dancing around on the outside. These two are right within distance on the end of one another's punches. The only thing they have to do is step in, just like he just did with that left hook.
Right hand by Toney.
Nice movement, McCallum.
McCallum honest at the end of round 1.
Here is a look at that low blow from the opening round. Look how low McCallum is bending down. Toney coming up over the top of McCallum. Really wasn't anybody's fault that punch was low.
Into the corner of James Toney.
That was a high-energy first round for Toney McCallum.
Championship. The former WBA middleweight champion is Mike McCallum. He gave up that title.
Yeah, I want to get, you know, like I said before, rest in peace, Roger Mayweather, Black Mamba, a.k.a. Black Mamba, you know what I'm saying? Passed at 58. He had been sick for quite some time. That's why we ain't seen him out there. And a lot of people remember him outside his boxing of training Floyd all the time, you know, but he had been sick for quite some time, man. So, you know, big salute to the OG, man. Sir Ken said, I saw a little slickness on the ropes with Khalid in his last fight. Not the same level, but some confident slickness. Yeah, Caleb, rather, not Khalid. Caleb is slick, man. He's trained out there too, you know. Caleb Plant is slick. Very slick boxer. I wouldn't put him in the same category fighting off the ropes like James Toney in that reference, but I know you said that, but he is slick. My heart goes out to the family, first his baby mom and now his uncle. Yeah, I mean, his uncle's been sick for quite some time.
Up on a mandatory
second round
against Steve Collins.
Toney starts off with the jab.
Asked to ante up a $50,000
strict, just strict accountability with the jab. I mean, they throwing jabs that really mean something. Hallmark jabs, doorbell jabs.
And look at these angles. James Toney is
on, man.
A fighter who has really learned to work.
Ooh, look at Toney popping the jab up top to the body.
You don't find too many of those today.
McCallum sticking his jab. These guys are really
feels that he can walk through McCallum.
You know, both of them
mathematical with it.
It's really been a war of words and a battle outside the ropes leading up to this fight.
But you take a look at Toney's fight.
Ooh, nice right by Toney. Nice straight right, man. Good movement by McCallum to get out of trouble. Man, good 1-2 off the forehead. Man, wild by McCallum. He's a little bit wild with that left and the right, though. Good defense by Toney.
Big knockout over Michael Nunn after he was behind in the cards. Also came back late against Reggie Johnson. And Toney feels that he has the knockout power to take out McCallum, even though McCallum may...
I don't know why they don't give Toney credit, though. The goddamn his shoulder roll was... The way he rolled with the punches with that left shoulder. I'm telling man, he was one of the best to do it, for real. I don't know why he don't get credit for that shit.
He said, I know I can knock Michael Nunn out. He did in the 11th round.
The body snatcher, boy. He just dug that right hook to the body on Toney.
McCallum actually technically in this fight the challenger.
You see how Toney throw his combination, then just bend over just enough to avoid the counters. This is high energy fighting right here. Real talk.
With a minute to go in the second round.
Toney had to step back and take a breath.
And a smile from Toney.
McCallum still sticking to the jab.
Very quickly, a very fast learner in James Toney.
Like the movement from McCallum. Like the movement.
Down to 30 seconds to go in the second round.
Look how James Toney cut off the ring. He backed straight up and cut McCallum from going to his right.
Through 2 rounds has been right there in the center of the ring.
A lot of boxers just follow him around the ring, man. McCallum a little bit wild with that right.
The feeling out process ended after the first 3 minutes. Toney just standing in front of McCallum.
Double jab.
McCallum with the movement.
Ooh, James Toney got down straight with the 1-2. Ooh, wait.
He says it is a
what? Come on, ref. Come on, ref.
McCallum has never been down.
Come on, ref.
And Smoger says after that one, he still has
Come
never
on, ref.
been down. They have called that a slip, Sean.
What you talking about?
Anybody that touches the mat with the soles of your feet.
Come on, man.
The knockdown from a legal blow.
James Toney should send in a protest to that right now. It don't matter if it did happen back then. They should send in a goddamn formal protest. Look at that.
That should have been ruled a knockdown.
Not only that, goddamn Zab Judah should put in a protest too. He was the first one to knock down Floyd Mayweather. Didn't get no credit for it because the ref overlooked it. Third round on deck. Both fighters start off with the jab, man. Keep them consistent with the stick, active. Jab is so important in boxing, man.
James Toney was hitting the mark. He was setting the heavier punches. And McCallum was just swinging. He's fighting his time now, waiting until the later rounds.
Totally different fight. Totally different opponent for James Toney. Totally different game plan. Totally different strategy.
The worst McCallum has ever been wobbled in his fight with Donald Curry in one of his defenses, but McCallum came back and beat Curry in that fight. Matter of fact, took him out in round number 5. This is the third round. McCallum in the dark trunks and
nice double jab
in the white trunks.
Check out the movement of both fighters too. Very, very nice.
Pretty good pace, Sean.
They stand very consistent with their movement.
It's been a busy pace, and you can also see the concentration level of these two.
It's not unneeded foot movement. They're doing just enough to set up whatever punch they're trying to throw. Very active, fluent, bouncing on the sole of their feet, on the ball of their feet. Nice right hand by McCallum. Trying to catch Toney coming in.
Toney likes to use the right, and Sean has pointed out.
Nice uppercut by McCallum, doubling up with the jab. He was connecting on James Toney in this fight.
Landing the right hand over the top, following that jab back. But now McCallum is carrying the hand higher. You really see the complexion of the fight change. You can see these two world-class fighters changing their style. Oh, that's what happens
when you're in a fight like this with two technically elite. Oh, nice solid right hand. McCallum ate that.
The battle for control
Damn. Nice straight right hand by Tony. You see two fighters like this with advanced technical ability, man, to make adjustments on the fly. We're talking about two fighters is not fighting wild, they're boxing at a high level. Ooh, and Tony was pretty squared up right there in that exchange.
Jackson and Donald Curry and Milton McCrory and Michael Watson. The only loss on the ledger of McCallum came 4 years ago to Sambu Kala.
Nice left.
Earlier this season.
Nice left hook by McCallum. Lands on the chin of Tony. Both fighters are mobile in this fight. They're not being caught stationary. Seem like they're getting tired. Very high-paced fight.
James Toney puts that crown on the line against two-time world champion Mike McCallum. We beginning round number 4.
That three-punch combination nasty. To the body up top by James Toney, man.
Fighters, Sean, have stayed right there in the middle of the ring for this entire fight. Heading now into the 4th round.
Man, nice one too by McCallum. They're going at it.
And he has been so successful with that right.
Furious pace.
He lifts the elbow up to turn it over. What you want to do when you're throwing those punches is knock your opponent down to the canvas, so you throw your punches down. You're turning your elbow over like Tony
Double
does.
jab.
You can do that.
Sean Toney going up against the consummate.
McCallum trying to counter over Tony's jab with the right.
Well, he's still learning, and he's a fighter that can change from round to round. In fact, both of these fighters are.
Man, one popped the jab, the other one's returning. It ain't no hesitation, man. Like,
he lost the left jab in the last round.
Appointments are being made.
Left jab to work and everything.
Shit, appointments are being made, shouty.
Tony seems to be the man stalking. It's that
1-2 by Tony, nice.
That keeps
McCallum still on his feet, man. Very solid, fluent movement, man.
That left hand way down by his waist, like McCallum's has been. Now McCallum is a terrific
jabbing, moving to his left.
But if he could sneak in some overhand rights, he would land on Tony.
Man, triple up on the jab is McCallum. Real nice. Ooh, nice overhand right by Tony, man.
Developing between these two middleweights. Tony there uses the jab. McCallum has 34 knockouts.
That counter by Tony, man. Hit him with a straight right, then came with that uppercut. You haven't seen too many uppercuts in this fight because they're boxing at a good distance. But when they exchange on the inside like that, man. Nice solid punch by McCallum, man. Caught Tony. Tony staying right there in the pocket. Right there in the phone booth.
The left jabs are setting them up. But watch both of them roll with the
both fight.
They roll away from the right hand.
Standing there square, man. Ooh, man. A little wild by both, but they trying to knock each other's head off. Back then, they was using Rock'em Sock'em, y'all. Rock'em Sock'em robots. They ain't fighting like no robot, I'll tell you that.
A little bit of a breather here for the last few seconds. Now the final seconds of round 4. Now Tony up against the ropes for the first time in this fight.
Ooh, nice counter. That was a tough round right there, man.
Action of 3 minutes in round number 4.
High energy.
Good round, but the hands of James Toney came down in that 4th round. They have got to be concerned over that. Hands right by his waist.
We want to talk about straight up authoritative boxing. This is the bout you want to watch.
Concern. Good round for both of these fighters. But look how McCallum rocks on that left leg, tries to pull the power away from the punches, then comes back wisely. James Toney, also a fighter who can come back, changing from round to round.
Round number 5. These two fighters enter the ring after the best round of the fight. Back and forth, round number 4. Difficult round to score. Both fighters looking very good.
Why is all this lagging going on, man?
I gave the last round out to James Toney, the champion, but I could have easily given it to Mike McCallum. I think the fourth round and the third round were both so very close that could have gone either way.
Nice exchange by both, man.
Remember, Toney, in winning the championship against Nunn, and then in his first defense in a very hotly contested fight against Reggie Johnson, it was Toney who
jab to the body up top by McCallum.
In those fights to win.
Both fighters still look good, man. Like their cardio is tight. You know, no one fighter is wavering too much as far as their condition goes.
James Toney's dragging that left hand. Look where that left hand is now.
Oh, nice right hand by Toney. Man, McCallum took that. I don't know how hard, you know, if it hurt him or not, but he took it.
A furious pace is developing. We're only in the fifth round. It is scheduled for 12.
Look how Toney cutting off the ring, man.
Of course, with the much more experience.
That's a lost art.
Into the later rounds. And
man up here cutting off the ring like that, man. It's like, nah.
Certainly prides himself on being a pro and being in top flight condition in each and every fight. And we have seen Toney in the past. He's always been in condition.
Well, Mike McCallum, it always comes in a good.
McCallum backing up just a little bit, you know, taking a breather. He's not really engaging in this round a lot.
Great body puncher. We've seen him in the past where he was. He is not in this fight. He has not launched a body attack at all.
Man, he's using a lot more foot movement, Mike McCallum.
But you know, that's also what James Toney is doing.
Switching it up.
Concentrating upstairs. Now, Toney is boxing right straight ahead, running right straight ahead forward. What McCallum is trying to do is work the angles. Watch his movement from side to side, and then he scores. Here he is trying to work the angles. Look at McCallum trying to get on the sides. Realizing that James Toney knows only one direction, right straight ahead and right straight backwards. He's trying to get on the sides of him.
And as Toney again sets up in the center of the ring, he has been the aggressor in this round.
And one thing Toney might try to do is slide over, cut the ring off. Keep McCallum from moving sideways. Every time he's trying to throw a right hand,
he is cutting the ring off, bro.
If he could slide
over,
man, he would corner up McCallum, then he could land his punches.
No. Okay. All right.
Round number 6. You are watching the IBF Middleweight Championship. The champion in the white trunks, James Toney, comes in with a record of 28-0-1 with 20 knockouts, making his third title defense against the veteran Mike McCallum, who has given up his WBA middleweight title to step in the ring here against Toney. The vet has won 42 of his 43 fights and 34 by knockout. McCallum, a 5-2 favorite coming into this fight. 6th round action is scheduled for 12. It's Toney looking for the setup on the big right hand. McCallum doing what we expected, Sean. The technician in the ring, looking for that jab to set himself up, moving, giving angles to James Toney.
When I asked James Toney to describe himself as a,
you see James Toney, he's seen, you know, he's showing that he's the more conditioned fighter in round 6. McCallum is switching up the fight plan, though. You know, more so his distance and everything.
Actually, 10 years. Learn so much inside the ropes. Learn and change from round to round.
Nice left hook by McCallum.
Oh, and a right hand by Toney.
Another right hand by Toney.
Away with a combination.
See, McCallum was standing in close early on in the fight. But a lot of things can be factored in. You know, he could be getting tired a little bit, or he could be feeling the punches of Toney. He just want to give a different look. you know, as the fight go on, it's many variables that could have been going on why McCallum started to kind of like stay on the outside a little bit, have Toney come to him, switch up the rhythm.
After the right hand, it put McCallum down the canvas.
6-round action, a real crisp pace to this point.
Nice left hook by Toney,
even,
though.
It seems at this point, Sean, inside the final 30 of round 6.
I've got Toney a little bit ahead in this fight, but some of these rounds
Definitely Toney is ahead.
And they could have gone either way. This is a very close fight.
McCallum decided to exchange on the inside. You know,
The IBF middleweight championship.
he's still good with the stick though.
Build up to left hand.
6 rounds down. In a scheduled 12-rounder for the IBF middleweight championship. The champion in the
Nice stiff jab by Toney, man.
James Toney.
Pop the head back of McCallum again.
Middleweight champ who just gave up his title, passing a mandatory defense against Steve Collins, is Mike McCallum, the 35-year-old.
They've been giving up them titles not to face the mandatory a long time, haven't they? Same thing Canelo and freaking Triple G was doing.
James Toney.
I see what McCallum is doing now. He's jabbing at the top of the chest because he's missing with a lot of these jabs. He's going down a little bit lower than the chin.
McCallum jabbing to the chest right now because James Toney head movement is still slick, elusive. Look at that head movement right there. McCallum might be getting a little bit tired. He said, shit, I'm not going to continue to try and go for James Toney head. That's too much energy for me.
Concentrated on boxing. Good decision for James Toney, who is now a middleweight champion.
He also broke his right ankle, Al, some years back, right before he turned professional.
But he's put it all together, and he's looking more and more impressive as a professional. His big weapon in this hand has been the right. Marvin Hagler, the legendary middleweight champion, ringside at this fight. And there have been reminders of Marvin Hagler when you take a look at James Toney. And even Hagler said that Toney has the fire and intensity that's reminded.
Nice shots to the body by McCallum, man. You go to the body on James Toney, you can guarantee he's gonna stay up top. He's gonna come back over the top or underneath. McCallum closing distance. Once again, making an adjustment.
Promoters say that James Toney is the easiest man to work with. He said, just put
and what a fight! What a fight!
And they put Mike McCallum in front of him tonight.
Nice sneaky right hook by Toney again. He's making McCallum miss a lot on the inside. McCallum ain't going nowhere though. It's a credit to defense to Toney, man. He's still being evasive.
He may be behind it. This fight is closer than he likes it. He's now trying to apply more pressure right at the end of the round and trying to steal.
Ooh, that's sneaky right. Oh, nice combination. McCallum stay close, going to the body. I like that. He's going to the place where easy to score. You know, he's going to the pockets of the body that's easy for him to hit. Definitely, you're trying to hit Toney up top. It's going to be much more difficult.
Very close through 7 rounds. And this
McCallum is not throwing the jab like tripling up on the jab, but when he does throw it, man, it's there. It scores.
McCallum has gone 10 rounds or more on 13 occasions. Toney 7 times. Now, keep in mind, McCallum has gone 12 or more on 7 occasions. And this one is scheduled for 12 rounds. Toney has gone 12 just once before, or twice before. The last time, Reggie Johnson in his first defense.
But he knocked out Michael Nunn to win this championship in the 11th round. It was, of course, after 10. Now, in that last round, Mike McCallum in that 7th picked up the heat right toward the end, putting more pressure, realizing that, hey, he needs to try to win this fight impressively.
Is there a reassessment going on in the corners or for each of these fighters now that they've gotten 7 strong rounds behind them?
Absolutely. Now they're so far in. Oh, good right hand by Toney.
Man, that was slick. Man, nice right hand by Toney.
But see, here's an example of Toney.
And this is a tough fight, too. Man.
He's got a terrific right hand.
These dudes are both boxing one another. Ooh, another right hand by Toney. Tough beard by McCallum.
What you many times have to do is put your opponent to sleep with one punch, put him down with the other.
Look at Bob Arum over there looking young. Young in the game. Oh, nice combination by Toney, man. McCallum took it pretty well. He seemed like he ain't showing he hurt, but he's still coming forward, keeping it close, man. Because if he had distance with James Toney, it's a problem.
Have gone. You're into the fight, and as professionals, you realize where you are in the fight.
It's hard to tell if McCallum is slowing down, like fatigue-wise, or
you make your own assessment. Now, many times you have to rely on.
He's missing a lot of shit you accredit to. The defense of Toney at this stage in the fight in the 8th round. He's still pretty decent with his movement.
Before this fight.
Yes,
I don't know if the arm's a little heavy for McCallum or what.
I'm sure he has no worries at all inside those ropes. He feels as though he's way ahead in this one.
8 rounds down in the scheduled 12-round World Championship. Round number 9. For the middleweight championship of the world, IBF version. Callum starting again close up against Toney. Figures that may be one way to take away the right hand power. Trying to smother the punches. And the two trading to start off round number 9.
And now he's putting on more pressure. Later in the fight is when he comes on, as I have mentioned before. But it's easier to hurt your opponent and even knock your opponent out if he's moving forward to you. In the last few rounds, he has moved forward to James Toney and right into that overhand right power.
42 victories for McCallum, 34 by knockout. Now, on one side, McCallum, of course, the veteran, who's gone to many more distance fights, but Toney also feels he's got the young legs going up against a guy 35 years old, who at this point in his career, although he prides himself on conditioning, could be a little weary in the closing rounds.
You talk about those great legs of Toney. He really has not used them in this fight. He has stood flat-footed and beat Mike McCallum on the inside. He's beating to the punch. Landing with that overhand right on many times.
Right there by McCallum, and he doubles up on the left.
Big right hand by Mike, and look who fights back.
And McCallum scoring upstairs. The body snatcher goes upstairs.
Well, that's what Mike McCallum needs. He needs to turn this fight around.
And now the jab by McCallum, moving Toney back. It's McCallum positioning Toney towards the ropes.
But Toney is so hard to hit. Look at him roll around with these punches. He's bending over at the waist, but he's pulling back. Watch him roll from his shoulders.
Sean,
Toney, the power of the punches.
Toney looks a little tired here, though.
He does. And look at him standing straight up from his legs up, but he's bending over at the waist. Signs of a tired fighter.
McCallum also using his head, his shoulders, trying to pin Toney on the ropes. Toney's hands are dangerously low.
That's why you see so much head movement now from Toney. His hands are so low, he has no protection.
Toney's mouth also is open. It's as if he's
the mouthpiece of McCallum almost flying out. Good left hook by James Toney.
Good round for Mike McCallum, the 9th round. Tenth round action. Mike McCallum coming off his best round of the fight. And so in response, James Toney comes out winging here in the 10th.
Sometimes you just got to plant your feet and fight, and that's what James Toney's done. Look how flat-footed Toney is, and he's landing that overhand right. Once he gets in trouble, he goes back to that overhand right.
And a flurry by Toney to start the 10th round. Toney now chasing and backing McCallum up. It was reversed in the 9th round. McCallum won the WBA middleweight crown in 12 rounds, and in his 3 defenses, 2 of them were 12 rounds, and the other 11. And Sean, you had commented between rounds that you thought that McCallum's best round was the 9th, and he was most alive in that round in any of the fights, and that maybe he's now just getting into feeling the way he wants to feel in a fight.
You know, he comes on later in a fight, and he finally got things opened up and going his way at the end of that 9th round. But James Toney came out the first of this, the 10th round, realizing that he had to beat McCallum off of him, and he did. That is the sign of a true champion. You know, sometimes you have no place to hide. The best thing you can do is just get out there and get rid of it. Now, and it's all about control. A fight, it's all about control. Can you impose your will on your opponent? And that's what James Toney has done.
With the dramatic knockout of Michael Nunn in the 11th round after being behind to win the title. Also went to 12 rounds to make his first defense against Reggie Johnson. 2 mobile fighters, as is his opponent here tonight in McCallum.
You know, in that fight with Michael Nunn, after the match, I mean, nobody knew who James Toney was. After the match, the recruiters at ringside asked for some biographical information on James Toney.
But Toney, Sean, here may feel, and another big right by Toney, they feel that once again he's in position where he has to come on strong in the closing rounds to retain his championship. And right now, here in the 10th, Sean O'Grady has James Toney in front.
I've got Toney comfortably ahead at 5-2-2. I've scored this.
And there goes the mouthpiece of Mike McCallum.
James Toney known for knocking out mouthpieces, ain't he?
You knock your opponent's mouthpiece out. The judges see that, they say, hey, he's hitting harder. And Toney is hitting harder.
Certainly looks like it. And the timeout rule, a break in the action, and Smoger.
DBMA, what's good, man?
Into the mouth of Mike McCallum.
What's good? What's good?
Tony really teeing off.
I know everybody dropping in, sending their condolences and respects out to Roger Mayweather. Gone but not forgotten. Salute to you, Black Mamba.
Some solid shots by James Toney. After a big 9th round by McCallum, Toney comes back here in the 10th. 24-year-old James Toney and the 35-year-old, 35 plus, Mike McCallum. He's admitting to 35. And Toney hears it in his corner. Sean, good rebounding round for Toney in the 10th.
Toney has been the one throughout this match landing the heavier shots. We're going to get a look at these heavier shots that he's landing. The left-hand low, boom, staggering the legs of Mike McCallum over the top of that right hand. Again,
Mike McCallum knew he was in the fight.
With that right hand. Watch Toney turn this right hand over. Good combinations. Now you see Toney putting those combinations together, coming back with that left hook that we talked about earlier. More action from that 10th round. The good combination there is the left hook that's been missing.
2 more rounds. This is going to be the last fight I show today.
And the combinations back and forth, working each
We just had to see some lights out today, baby. While everybody got downtime, you had to see the lights out. You had to see the technical, the technician, the technical mastery.
Well, the judges are looking for 4 things. They're looking for effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, defense, and clean punches.
And Tony was in training, man. God damn, dude, go 12 rounds. I mean, still look amazing in the championship rounds. Still show he had it.
Referee Steve Smoger termed that a slip.
There's also an old adage in boxing, Al, that the challenger must.
Like he wasn't going nowhere, man.
He's got to beat him convincingly enough that he takes his title away from him. And Mike McCallum doesn't appear to be doing that. You know, I talked about the control. Look at the mental focus of these two now as compared to earlier in the fight. Now it appears that McCallum is just struggling for his punches.
McCallum was getting tired a little bit.
Placing those punches right where he wants them.
A lot of action through 10 rounds. And here we are in the 11th. The stamina may be the key. Matter of fact, before the fight, Bill Miller, working in the corner of James Toney, said Toney is more petrol in his tank, and that will be the difference. But for his age, Mike McCallum certainly demonstrates a great stamina and endurance.
And still bouncing here in this 11th round. A lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. Looks like a young man, really, Mike McCallum. But, you know, you look at how wise, clever James Toney
missed that right left.
Staying flat-footed. The man doing the most.
Missed with that one. Mike Callum just getting out of the way of on the end of those punches, man.
Way to fight. You can get a long career if you sit still. You plant your feet and you can punch on it.
Although McCallum,
damn good fight, man. Damn good fight.
How much he could bounce in 12 rounds. Well tested.
These fighters been boxing since the opening round, and technically.
Inside the final minute of round number 11. It has been a furious fight to this point. The champion, James Toney. The challenger, Mike McCallum, who gave up the WBA middleweight crown and entered into this fight. It was originally supposed to be a unification, but McCallum had to give up the WBA title. And he passed on a mandatory defense against Steve Collins. But he knows that
Joshua did that.
This is
pass up
where
his
the middleweight
mandatory
championship is between he and James Toney.
14 seconds left in the 11.
Drops his hands, a big breather, and they now will brace for the final 3 minutes of this fight.
Ooh, stinging right hand.
Action from the 11th round. Watch for the left hook following the right hand by James Toney. Here at the end of the last round, Mike McCallum started putting more pressure, trying to steal the eye of the judges.
He can try to steal it.
They call him the body snatcher, but he certainly has not built up much of a body attack in this fight.
Nope.
Mostly James Toney.
James Toney's shots, he just missed a big right at the end of the 11th round. Still looks to have that strength. Talk about second wind in a fight. I think there've been 5 or 6 wins by now with these two fighters. Just a furious pace here into the 12th round. And here, Sean, we'll see the resolve and the inner strength of the champion. Both the champions going for this title now in the 12th and final round.
And it is James Toney's championship that they're going for. The IBF middleweight title of the world. The overhand right from Toney still working in this round.
Toney's still active in the championship round, man.
The punches have slowed, but they will increase later on in this round. Vary the intensity on those punches. Get your opponent used to those light shots, then you can hit him with the big shots.
What do you think the mindset of each fighter is coming into this round?
And just to think back in the day, they used to go 15 rounds.
I think
Could you imagine going 15 rounds off their pace like this?
But they're also saying, hey, I've got to finish strong. I've got to finish big. Both of them are professionals.
Well, you have the equity of both fighters, man.
I think in the 9th, but since that time, Toney has come on in the 10th and the 11th round.
Boxing intensive.
The stronger of the two fighters.
These guys are
Sean,
boxing.
What's your card say coming into this final round?
Oh, I like how he moved around McCallum and tried to stick that. Oh, nice.
Toney looking to finish big.
Woo!
Looking to finish off McCallum. Is McCallum in trouble?
Only one plan got him hurt. Still killer instinct. He was holding on to the rope, still hitting McCallum.
Showing that he has a lot left. And McCallum's arms drifting downward.
Tony's tired right now. He's still trying to goddamn go for the headshot. He's still trying to take his head off. Off with your head.
Really the big question mark for James Toney. Could he survive in those later rounds when Mike McCallum is coming on strong? And I think he certainly answered that question. Good finish for champion James Toney.
And slow laughs by McCallum. I think it
see Toney is tired. He's still throwing what's naturally coming to him. Like,
they have summoned up.
Look at his hand went up.
Energy in a frantic 12.
You gotta respect that. You gotta respect that, man. He's still doing boxing. You know the basis of boxing, even when he's exhausted.
This is the 12th and final round.
Look how tired he is. That took a lot out of him for that flurry that he did.
That easily could have gone either way. But I think James Toney looks like he has retained his title.
Man, still going at it. Hit another gear out the door.
James Toney wobbles away.
Two classics, bro. Two classics.
He has to feel
God damn.
When another 10-15 seconds, he would have KO'd Mike McCallum. McCallum ends standing. Toney ends swinging. And this one now goes to the cards.
I don't like reading boxing news from TMZ though. But speaking about Roger Mayweather, they say one of the most famous boxing trainers ever has died. Floyd Camp confirms. He was 58. Roger was a key member of Floyd's training team and sculpted him into becoming a global phenom he is today. He is also a pretty good boxer and battled with some pretty big stars, including Julio Cesar Chavez and Ray Boom Boom Mancini. He also a two-weight division world champion, holding the WBA lineal super featherweight title back early, and along with the WBC light welterweight from 87 to 89. Roger has been in declining health for years. In fact, Floyd opened up about Roger's health back in 2015 and blamed boxing for his damaging his brain. My uncle Roger Mayweather has lost a lot of memory from the sport of boxing. And Floyd said he's only in his 50s, but it seemed like he's an old man in his 80s. We really never knew the extent, of Roger Mayweather's condition, because he was just out of sight, out of mind, man. And they was caring for him. A few years ago, Roger went missing. Unfortunately, he was located by law enforcement. We're told Floyd was close with Roger and is deeply emotional about his passing. Once again, former world champion, trainer, legendary Black Mamba Roger Mayweather has now passed at the age of 58. He is indeed the uncle of Floyd Mayweather. Let me see if there's another article out there on Roger Mayweather. TMZ is just not heavy on the boxing part of it, so. Mayweather Sr. Okay, it's just about saying the same thing. Everybody using this template across the board. Talking about Floyd Mayweather's mentioned his uncle losing his memory. Another part to note, a thrilling and distinguished fighter in his own right. Mayweather Sr. won 59 of his 72 professional fights, capturing the WBA super featherweight title and, of course, the WBC light welterweight title. Nope. I'm just searching around for bits and pieces to speak on with the Black Mamba, Roger Mayweather, man. I can't believe it. Roger was a member of Floyd's team, was a good boxer himself. Kind of the same stuff. Wow. Mayweather ended his professional boxing career on a 3-fight win streak. His last bout took place in 1999 when he was defeated by Javier Francisco Mendez by majority decision. Y'all hold on for a minute. But people, yeah, I just want to come in here and talk about some classics today. Yeah, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit off topic than the usual subjects or media headlines. I know the media headlines is fury, but of course I have to switch it up a little bit and talk about some different areas of combat sports. Hey, I also have to let you know that the current 3 UFC fights, UFC cards that was going to take place has been canceled, but not Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson just yet. So the next 3 events that Dana White has canceled because the White House came up and went from 50 to 10 people in a gathering. Dana White just recently came out and said he has postponed the next 3 events Man, come on, why are you tripping, man? The UFC has postponed the next 3 events in which has scheduled to take place April 11th due to the growing impact of COVID-19, of course. The UFC Fight Night events in March 21st, March 28th, and April 11th has been canceled. All in reference to the 10 or more people that, spoken from the White House. And Dana White had this to say: as you heard me say, I've been in the fight game for 20 years, and this is what we do. We find a way to keep our events going no matter what. White wrote in the email, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN. But this is different. The whole world has been affected right now, and nothing is more important than the health and safety of you and your families. In addition to postponing events, the UFC have closed its executive offices in Las Vegas, and this is cited from ESPN, citing their AP. Beyond April 11th, the UFC next pay-per-view event is scheduled to take place April 18th at BARKLEY Center. Oh, that's gonna be tough. You know what I'm saying? That's Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The UFC 249 main event features a highly anticipated lightweight fight between Nurmagomedov and Ferguson. Khabib Nurmagomedov is 28-0. Tony Ferguson is 25-3. And a little side note to this: this fight right here has been canceled, I believe, in 2018, 17, 16, and 15. This is like the 5th time they're supposed to have a fight, I believe. So UFC still plans to promote that event for now, either in New York or elsewhere. Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov is still on. White said this would happen. This is going to happen. We're going to follow these guidelines. Not to have more than 10 people in the room. We're hoping that all clears up by April, and the fight is going to happen. Whatever it takes. Probably not in the United States, but this fight's going to happen. So Daniel White is saying, hey, it may not happen in the United States, but it's going to happen. The UFC original plan was to move the event to the Apex facility in Las Vegas. The Apex facility in Las Vegas. The site of its Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. If you don't know what the Contender Series is, it's him looking for upcoming prospects to roll over to the UFC and potentially become fighters, by competing on the regional scale and then earning their spot to compete in the UFC. Those plans were mixed last weekend when the Nevada State Athletic Commission temporarily suspended all combat sports in the state. Wow. But y'all do me a favor, be sure to follow me on all social media networks. Subscribe to the channel, please. Continue to support the content. Today was jumping outside the box, looking at some classics, educational boxing matches, of course, just so you can see some of the greats at work. You all continue to tune in and show your support for combat sports and also World Combat Sports Media. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.